Welcome, everybody, back to the Fretboard Journal podcast. I'm your host, Jason Verlinde, and I have some exciting Fretboard Summit announcements to share with you all. So, as you hopefully know, in a little over a month, the Fretboard Journal is hosting its annual guitar party in Chicago. It takes place August 21st to 23rd at the Chicago Old Town School of Folk Music. This is this incredible two-building venue, multiple stages, dozens of classrooms, various jam spots and places where you can connect. And we fill pretty much the entire facility with all the things we love, including over 50 luthiers coming from around the world, including many who have been featured in our pages. You can go shop amongst all of them. You can also meet folks from bigger companies like Martin and Collings and Taylor. And the coolest thing about the Fretboard Summit is, generally speaking, you can meet Bob Taylor and Andy Powers from Taylor Guitars at our summit. You can meet Steve McCreary and the gang from Collings. All of these luminaries who we celebrate every week on this podcast and in the pages of our magazine are there because they want to connect both with you guys and each other. And it's just this incredibly cool conference, hang, whatever you want to call it. So you can register at fretboardsummit.org right now. You're going to want a 3-day pass. You're going to want to attend everything. I know that most guitar shows, you pay $20 at the door and you go guitar shopping, and that's sort of the end of the deal. At our summit, it's a completely different vibe. It's very immersive. It's very hands-on, as you are about to hear. There are parties, there are concerts, and it's all available to you with that 3-day pass. So please, let's sell this out this year. We're very close, but let's get to the finish line. The challenge is I have a very big name appearing at the Fretboard Summit on Saturday, somebody who you normally would not see in a 400-seat theater, and I can't announce it just yet. So you're going to have to take my word for it. Our lineup is incredible. I can tell you that we've got Ella Feingold, who has been on this podcast before, coming. She's going to be teaching a funk guitar workshop, funk guitar through the ages, as is Charlie Hunter, who she just did a record with. Charlie Hunter is going to be at this year's Fretboard Summit. We've got him playing a set of Blind Blake on Thursday night, August 21st. That is a Summit 3-day pass holder exclusive. We've got Dave Hill, the incredible comedian, raconteur, author, rock god, I don't know what to call him, playing on Friday night. Now, Dave is a comedian. He's done an off-Broadway show that has been earning rave reviews. One of the funniest people on the internet. And he's going to be doing a stand-up set just on guitar culture. This has never been done before. This is another Fretboard Summit exclusive. You're going to love it. We've also got John Smith, British folk singer, coming. Wayne Henderson is coming back to the summit along with Jane. Jane's going to be doing a really cool presentation we're going to be talking about later. And if you ever wanted to play alongside Wayne Henderson, if you are a bluegrasser or an old-time musician, you've ever just wanted to pick the brain of that guy, this is your chance. You don't have to get to Rugby, Virginia. We're bringing rugby to Chicago. We've also got an incredible array of hands-on installations, vintage amps room for the people who love our Truth About Vintage Amps podcast, and so much more. It's really staggering. One of the reasons we haven't posted the full schedule yet is because I'm trying to fit everything in, and there is a lot going on, including today's guest, Mark Turley of Summer School Electronics. Now, this is one of those only at the Fretboard Summit things. I did not know Mark before he showed up at our Chicago event, and I immediately thought he's the coolest guy ever. Mark is a middle school teacher, and he makes pedals during his non-school hours. He's got a fun vibe. Every pedal has sort of a school theme to it, most of which are pretty hilarious. He had the weirdest, craziest pedal at our last year's Fretboard Summit Science Fair. It was absolutely hilarious. We get into it. And this year at our summit, he's going to be teaching a class. Everybody who signs up can build a pedal with Mark, and then you go home with a pedal. We had to buy a bunch of soldering irons and some equipment for all this to take place. So we have to limit the number of attendees, and there is a small price of admission beyond the 3-day summit pass. But you're going to go home with a pedal that you made with summer school at the Chicago Fretboard Summit. It's a very cool experience. Space is extremely limited, so I'm including a ticketing link. And most of all, I had a great chat with Mark just on how he started a pedal company. And we talk about tariffs and all sorts of other stuff that affects pedal builders today. But mostly, I think you're going to want to come hang out with Mark and I in Chicago. So here is our conversation with Mark from summer school. Again, he's teaching a class. You're going to be making a pedal with Mark and 9 other students. We might have to do a few of these over the course of the weekend if they fill up. And I just wanted to tell you all about it. Before we get to my conversation with Mark, thanks as always to our sponsors, Mike and Mike's Guitar Bar here in Seattle, Washington. Stringjoy Strings, one of the coolest boutique guitar string companies around, and our friends at Peghead Nation. At least 2 of those companies have great discount offers that I'm going to include in the show notes. Support them, tell them the Fretboard Journal sent you. And now here is my conversation with Mark Turley. It's a good one. Mark, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
You and I met, as I've met most of my recent friends in the guitar community through the Fretboard Summit, which you've been at. Thank you for being a part of it.
Thanks for having us. Yeah, last year, I remember we were running around like interviewing people, and I saw you like walk by. I'm like, I gotta talk to Jason, and like I'd like run over and be like, we gotta do an interview.
You did an incredible job. For folks who don't know, summer school is more than a funny theme for your pedals. You are actually a school teacher.
Yes, I teach math AIS, which is academic intervention services, for 2nd grade through 8th grade. So the joke is like the kids who aren't great at math and don't like math come see me for more math. So not always everyone's favorite, but you know, we try.
I think most mortals, myself included, after 9 months of teaching a bunch of middle schoolers how to be better at math, the last thing we'd want to do is bring on a second job. So how did you decide at some point in this that you were also going to launch a pedal company?
It definitely got out of control. It started. So I had this job since like 2015. And I was playing in bands all through the time. I was playing like original stuff and then like a cover band that was playing a bunch. And then COVID happened. And when it got to be summertime, I was like, well, there's no kids to teach and there's no gigs to play. And it feels like there's 30 hours in a day. Like I'm running out of things to do. Like you can only, like I would like play guitar, but I'm like, well, I wrote a song, but who knows if like that'll ever get recorded. So I bought a pedal kit. Just being like, I don't know, it's like Legos, but for like big kids. So I'm like, I'll try to put that together. And it just kind of went from there. Like I made a kit and it didn't work. So I had to learn how to fix it. So then I was like, I'll buy another kit. And a friend of mine who like our bands had played some shows together. He was also kind of doing the same thing, just like building clones as a hobby. So we would just like build something and show it to each other. And eventually I was like, I want to start making like my own pedals. And so it'd be learning how to breadboard and how to mod and how to like read schematics and kind of taking it more than just like the Lego level. And put out a pedal called the Gus Drive, named after my dog. And it got some attention and people started sharing it online and we got a bunch of pre-orders. It's like, oh, I guess I got to make some more. And then made a pedal called the Gladys, named after my other dog. And I was like, all right, well, we'll keep this going. And it just kind of ran with that. Like JHS helped us out and gave us a bunch of attention. We did some pedal shows. We went to NAMM. And it was just kind of like, let's take a chance and try this. And it just kind of kept going. And then I heard about Fretboard Summit. And I was like, I think we want to check that out. Like, let's do it. Let's give it a shot. So last year was our first year. And we had a blast. It was awesome. We did the science fair competition and all that crazy stuff.
I appreciate all that. And I'm glad you had a blast. I'm glad you're coming back. Is this like, from what I gather, like this is a pedal company that's running 365 days out of the year. Are you doing this after school? Are you trying to do as much production as possible during the summer months? Like, how do you figure all that out?
lot of scheduling. Originally I was like, I'll call it summer school and I'll build in the summer. What a great idea. And
You're like a farmer.
I'll make a bunch of stuff, and in the fall we'll harvest, and then I'll just sell through the winter. And by the next summer, like, oh, that was my plan. But as it got busier and busier, it was like, oh no, you have to start building like more and more, like during the year, just to kind of keep up. So I try to keep a handful of like everything in stock. Like I have my shelf over that way of all of our stuff. And I try to look and be like, all right, well, we sold, these are getting low, build a bunch more of those, and try to like plan it all out and keep an eye on our inventory of like, oh, that box is getting a little low. All right, next order, we got to do that. But yeah, it really is now I'm building like today it's the middle of summer. I was building a bunch, or if I get home from school, I'll be like, all right, I get home at like 3. My wife gets home at 6. It's like, it's me a few hours to knock some stuff out. And then usually when she gets home, I'm like, all right, we're calling it for the night. So we try to have some sort of work-life balance, but it's literally going like all the time. And if it's like, we've had the conversation many times of like, do we have anything going on Saturday? And she's like, I don't think so. I'm like, I'm out. I will be in the attic building all day Saturday. Just let me know when you want to grab lunch, but I'll be up there working.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's just you? Really?
Yeah. My buddy Steve does our artwork, and he is when our JHS featured our science fair pedal a few years ago in their top 10 of the year. And we got like this like influx of orders. So while I'm trying to keep up, Steve stepped up and was like, you're going to need some help. Teach me how to make foot switches. And eventually it was like, teach me how to build the science fair. So I made him like a whole video of like, welcome to summer school. Here's how you're going to build them. So he's made, I think he's probably made like between 30 and 50 of them. I just put the finishing touches on science fair number 700.
Wow.
So, like, and that's just that one model. So we have about a dozen different models. But yeah, it's mostly me doing all the building. And then, and Steve's been helpful with like the artwork, and we've been friends since we were like 15. So we have that like shared vocabulary, and I'm someone who has to like think out loud for a bunch of ideas. So we're just texting all day long. I'm like, what if we do this crazy thing? And he's like, I think this is going to be a problem. I'm like, good idea. Let's work it out and figure it out from there. But yeah, so he's kind of the guy behind the guy who's like helping out with a bunch of stuff. But as far as like building and goes, it's mostly me.
And is the science fair pedal, the 700th one you just did, is that the best selling pedal that you've done?
Yeah, that's our top seller, and it's just gotten more attention than like anything else. Like,
yeah,
it came out in like the fall of 2022,
yeah,
and then right before Christmas, JHS featured it, and it was like they have so many views. You know what I mean?
Totally.
That It was like, oh, okay, that quickly became like, oh, we've sold more of those than everything else combined at that point. And it's just, kept going.
And for my listeners some of whom will be just learning about you, what kind of pedal is that?
Oh, so we took the concept of a lab rat and a test tube screamer. So basically a hard clipping rat and a soft clipping tube screamer. And we put them in parallel. So as opposed to like stacking them one into the other, when you plug in, you're hitting both circuits. They each have their own drive and their own tone. And then they have a master volume and a master blend. So if you were like being the sound guy and you have two guitar players and one's playing a rat, one's playing a tube screamer, you're at the mixer trying to like EQ it out. You can just do that in your pedal. You can just find the blend between the two and be like, oh, there's my sound. So the joke is like, if you're going to jam and you don't know if we're playing like country or death metal, it can cover you like the entire range in between.
Got it. Now, as a fellow small business owner, largely one-man band, although I do thankfully have help, how do you balance working on future developments, R&D versus just, keeping the product flowing to the people who just ordered it? Because we all should be talking to each other probably as small business owners about this.
I again comes to like time management where like, so I have the idea for like our next like 5 to 10 pedals, right?
Okay.
Some of the ideas might not work, but in my head, I'm like, I want to do these things, and certain steps of the process, take longer than others, but I'll try to map it out and be like, all right, if I have time that's uninterrupted, I should build. Like that's something that is hands-on. I can do it, go and just build up our stock. And once I'm like, all right, our stock here on the shelf is fine. If a store, gets a hold of me and needs a reorder, I'm like, I can ship it out the next day. We're good. Once we have that manufacturing side at like a decent place where I can breathe, then I can look and go back, all right, I have some time now and we're all built up. Let's breadboard, or let's, build the PCB on our CAD program, or do the other little things. But at the end of the day, like selling pedals is what keeps it the business a business. So like we have to make sure those are set as we start to roll out all the other stuff. And because I am working on so many different things at once, as you kind of go through, you'll get to a point where you're like, all right, now I have the next like 3 releases set. So like right now I kind of know what we're going to be releasing up through about January-ish right now. Like I kind of know where they're coming out. Which kind of gives me time to work on other stuff, but also it's flexible enough that if like, the January release has to be pushed to March, like, oh, okay, we still have enough time and flexibility to make it work.
Have the recent tariffs, I know Josh has covered this, so.
Oh, they're terrible.
Terrible. Okay.
I'm in a unique spot where we've been a company, we're going on 4 years in September. So I have been doing this long enough that there is some brand recognition. Like we're not huge, obviously, at all, but like there are people who buy our stuff and there are stores that stock us, and we have some relationships in the industry, and it's good. But because this isn't my only job, I'm still teaching. So that's a little bit of a breather of like, okay, you're going to be able to live and you're going to be okay while you do this. If I was full-time committed to solely building, I would have a whole new set of problems, and vice versa. If I was just starting out where I need to order prototypes, and I had to do prototypes a few weeks ago for some new stuff, and I'm like, this would be like insane. It wouldn't be worth it if I was in my situation of 4 years ago, just starting to build. Like the cost is way too high. It doesn't make it feasible. Like, so I'm in a position where stuff is selling. So it's like, all right, I can afford to do this order, but really triple check your prototypes. Make sure there's no like dumb mistakes in there. But it's terrible, isn't it? Like, you order $200 to $300 worth of product, and you end up having to pay $500 to $600, like just for the product. It's
that dramatic.
Currently I think China is a 50% tariff, down from 145, which like when that got enacted, it changed the way I was doing it. I was like, I'm on a buying freeze. Like, I don't know what's going to happen. Like, try to use everything that you have in stock right now, delay releases, do what you got to do just to kind of like conserve your resources. But I'm at the point now where like I have to buy more stuff. Like we've sold what we have. But yeah, you figure, it's a 55%, 50 something percent tariff just on China. And even going from Korea, Taiwan, Thailand, those are all around like 30%, give or take, for each one. And it's just money that we are paying as the importers that the government is collecting it's a tax. We have no say in legislating against this tax. And it's just throwing off our entire business model. Like, you make your model with certain margins. And the argument of, well, you can just up your prices. I'm like, well, I don't sell direct. I mean, I do sell direct, but also I work with like 30 something dealers around the world. And as the tariffs are changing, prices are changing, I can't send them a monthly thing of like, here's our cost change. Oh, wait, here's our new cost change. Oh, here's the other, like,
yeah,
it doesn't roll out that way. So it's, yeah, sorry. You opened a can of worms with that question.
I was curious because these are parts that are just not available. No one's making them in the United States, right?
No. So, like when we get I have a visual aid for anybody watching. So when we order our PCBs, certain parts are pre-soldered on there, and then some I do by hand as well. The parts that are getting soldered on are not made in the US. They never were. Go back to the middle of the 20th century. The US invested its efforts in military and other things, and in Asian countries invested in electronics development. So it's just so far ahead because of decisions that were made generations ago, and you can't just be like, change it. Well, the infrastructure is not there. The environmental concerns aren't going to allow that to happen. It's the same thing if I was like, I'm going to plant a mango tree in my backyard in Syracuse, New York, and I'm going to get all my mangoes for free. I'm like, well, it's day 50 and that tree still hasn't grown at all. Like, it's just like, it can't happen here,
It's a great analogy.
I mean, I keep looking. I'm looking at that mango tree, and I got a lemon tree right next to it. They don't seem to be doing anything. I don't know what's up.
Exactly. Well, speaking of cost, probably it had to be the most expensive pedal you've ever made. Was at the summit. What was that for folks who? I'm looking at your website now. It's not on there. You probably were like, I need to wash my hands of this.
So I know what you're talking about. You're talking about the report card.
Yeah.
So when I had talked to Josh Scott, and he really like sold me on Fretboard Summit, because I was like on the fence about it because I had heard about it, but I wasn't super familiar. And he was like, go, you'll have a blast. And he's like, we're doing the science fair competition. And I was like, oh, like my pedal science fair? No, it's totally different. And he's like, everyone's gonna make a one-off crazy thing, and we're just gonna showcase it. So my idea of a one-off crazy thing was to make a giant pedal that had 5 foot switches and just a volume knob. And the foot switches were, I think, a boost, a blues breaker, a 250, a rat, and a fuzz. So depending how far forward you put your foot, you could turn on one or all 5 switches. And we made it look like a report card, and it was like the super cool artwork. And so I ended up playing it, or I show it at the thing, and Josh was playing, and I'm like clicking on all the switches. And by the end, it's just feedback. It's just like noise and chaos. And I'm like, yeah, that's what I made, man. And everybody, we had it at our table, and everybody was like, oh, can I buy that? I'm like, no. I'm like, it's a one-off. It was like a dumb, silly thing. And because it was a one-off, I didn't design it to be like easily made. Like, there's so many trim pots inside that have to be like dialed in by ear, and like it's a pain in the butt to make.
Yeah. But a great joke.
Yeah. I was like, for a one-off.
Yeah.
I love it. Hilarious. And everybody kept asking about it. And I was like, and like kind of as a joke, we were like, you know what? Let's do a pre-order, and let's do it like the I don't want to do it price. We were like $500. No one's going to spend that on a pedal. And we had a little QR code. And I think it was the last day of Fretboard Summit. This guy walked in wearing a summer school shirt, and I was like, "Oh, I've met you at another event we did." And he's like, "It's real. I can get it." I'm like, "You don't want it, man. It's not usable. It's just stupid and it's chaos." He goes, "Click. I just pre-ordered one," and I was like, "All right, I guess I have to make it." And then my buddy James, who came with me to it, would just be like, "Did you just get that email?" I'm like, what? He's like, someone in the UK just ordered one. And then we were like at the airport to go. He's like, we just sold another one. We ended up selling a handful of them. And I'm like, all right, I guess I'm going to have to get to work when I get back home. And like, I think we did a pre-order for like 2 weeks and we sold a handful of them. And we're like, it's just a silly, funny thing, but people are into it. We are going to be releasing another pedal. It's not going to be a pre-order. Like, we're going to have them at Fretboard Summit. That is another over-the-top silly idea. Not the same as the report card, but it's going to be a crazy idea like that. I mean, I can see it over my shoulder right here, but the artwork's not on there yet. Okay. But yeah, we'll have something silly.
Sounds like I need to throw another science fair.
Oh, I mean, we got the crazy ideas, and it's like, you got to do it,
All right. Well, speaking of crazy ideas, the summit, it's August 21st to 23rd. And the thing I'm trying to do is to create a guitar show that's fun for everybody. I know it's kind of weird. I know most guitar shows are just like you walk around and you try to buy stuff or you don't. But we have all these lectures and talks, and we got Dave Hill coming this year, the comedian. We have a ton of great artists. And you offered to teach a class, even though it's the thick of summer. And so why don't you explain what you'll be doing?
So we are opening signups for limited seating for a class, and I'm going to teach you how to build a pedal, because that was how we said I started during COVID, and it changed my life. And it was really fun. And just getting to where I am now, there's so many stages of just like buying a kit and like putting it together and then learning like, but wait, why does this do what it did? Or troubleshooting, like, I did it and it doesn't work. Where is my problem? And the way I did it, I had to like teach myself and go on forums, and you'd post a picture and someone would be like, your soldering sucks. And you're like, all right, cool, thanks. And then you have to like do all that. So we're going to do a class, and I'm going to teach people how to build a pedal. So I did a modified version of our Gust Drive, which is a modified 250. And so it's going to be, I know there's a ton of great fuzzes out there, and a lot of people build fuzzes. I'm more of an overdrive guy, and this pedal can go from a clean boost to overdrive to distortion. And we added diode clipping selection on there too. So I ordered all the parts. I got, where are my PCBs? Here, my PCBs just showed up right there. I got them all. So sign up for the class. We'll get you your PCB. We'll get you all the parts that go on it. I'll get you a plain white case and a whole bunch of different color LED, different color knobs. And I will take you step by step on how to build your own boost, overdrive, distortion pedal. And you can decorate it any way you want. I'll have a bunch of Sharpies. You want to draw a dog on it? Go for it. I don't know, you want some stickers? We'll put stickers on it. And I'll have a bunch of knobs. You can do whatever knobs I have. If you don't like the knobs that I bring, I will clue you into sites on where you can get other knobs and headaches and pitfalls that I fell into to be like, you might want to avoid this in the future. I really want to tailor it by having a teacher, somebody who's done this thousands of times there. I want to really make it so if you're brand new and you're like, I just think it'd be cool for a couple hours I don't really know how to solder that good. I'll be there. Steve, who I mentioned earlier, will be there with me. He'll be my TA for the day, and we'll help you get everything ready to solder. So you can start from brand new. If you've done a couple kits and you're just like, I'm into it, like, yeah, I'll be there. You can pick my brain if you want to know, like, hey, how come it's really challenging to build a chorus pedal whereas like a fuzz is really easy? Like, yeah, I can answer that for you. If you want to talk about some like mods and stuff to do, I can talk about that too. So I want to that's why I keep it kind of a smaller number of people so that everybody can get their individualized attention for what they want to do. But at the end of it, you'll leave with a pedal that you made, and you can customize it and make it cool.
This is what I love about the Fretboard Summit. It's like going to summer camp and bringing home a friendship bracelet, but it's a pedal
I love
from an actual pro who's going to walk you through everything. And I love that people can get their hands dirty-ish and smell some solder, and we've got a room carved out for this. I'm promising everybody who does sign up, I will put no programming during this 90 minutes, 2 hours that's pedal related. So if you're just a pedal guy or gal and want to like dive into this, I'm not going to put any conflicting programming where you're going to hate me or Mark over this. And then I think we might have a little overflow. If it sells out, there might be a second day. So this will be Thursday, the 21st of August. And then if there's enough demand, as with your crazy report card pedal, we might have to spill it over.
There.
You'll be there.
It's super fun. I think it's just a super cool activity. I did a watered down version of this with my guitar club kids. So at our school where my day job is, we offer a guitar club once a week, and kids usually just come. I got a bunch of acoustics, and they'll be like, I heard the song on TikTok. Can you teach me? I'm like, yeah, that smells like Teen Spirit. Like, I know how it goes. I got you. But then they kind of know what I do summer school wise, but like I've brought in like the pedal boards and I brought in electric, and they like turn into noise artists and turn all the knobs and like do whatever. And it's cool. I was like, do you guys want to learn how to make them? And they're like, yeah. So I did all the soldering ahead of time for a bunch of I think we did our Pepperelli fuzzes. And so I brought on like the cases, and the kids were all set up at the table. I'm like, all right, so you're going to take the thing, you put it through here, you put on the washer and the nut. And they're like, okay. And like one kid is like, I'm all done. And he has all these extra parts on his thing. And I'm like, I think we got to go back a few steps. I think you skipped the washer part of that. But they would like do it. And these are like 7th and 8th grade kids who are in my club doing it. And at the end, I'm like, all right, guys, you gotta test them. So they're like, okay, the input, the output, the power, and they're like playing. I'm like, I turn on the fuzz, and their faces just lit up, and they were just like, this is the greatest thing ever. As they're like playing Seven Nation Army, like with an actual fuzz. And like that was just them mechanically putting it together. Like once you solder everything and like you plug it in, you're like, all right, I made this, and you click the button and the light turns on. You're like, yeah, like it's such a great feeling, you know?
The question remains, Mark, you are so chipper, and it dawned on me, you have two of the most stressful jobs imaginable, a middle school teacher in 2025 and a small business owner in the gear space.
Yeah. Coffee's doing a lot of the heavy lifting. I mean, that's happening. It's, you know, and that's the thing, like you gotta have fun, you know? You know, there are days where I am not chipper. I will promise you that. But no, I think the pedal thing is definitely relaxing compared to the teaching thing. And the teaching thing does have its own reward. So it all kind of balances out. So this is like bringing the two of them together. So I think it'll be a really cool class. I think it'll be really, really fun. I was just talking to Steve about it before we hopped on this chat, and he was like, I'm so excited to be your TA and like help people learn how to solder. I'm like, cool, man. I love it. That's great.
I love it.
So,
Mark, I can't thank you enough for being a part of our summit and for coming back and for doing this. This is a little add-on fee, but it's less than a typical pedal would cost these days.
Yeah.
And you get to go home with something you made and learn something, which is pretty cool.
That's kind of the other part of it too, is that when I started, you know, I knew nothing, and I'm just like, you know, we're all trapped at home during COVID. You can only like message people on message boards. And when I started going out and doing pedal shows and going to NAMM and doing whatever, all these companies have been so supportive and like opening their doors, and like JHS helped us out a ton. Earthquaker have become some of our closest friends.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's too many brands to list, but there's like tons of different brands that I'm just like, even last year at Fretboard Summit, like John at Voltic and I became really good buds. Maynard over at Madsen, we're just like, oh yeah, what's up? Like we still talk from being in that room that one time. And I'm like, that's cool. And I've had people come up to me at pedal shows who are like, I think I'm just starting. Like, what should I do? And I'm like, oh, here's my card. You know, I would advise this. If you are stuck, shoot me an email. You know, like I want to pay it forward and like help out people who are just getting into pedals the way everybody else helped me out, you know, and just kind of keep it going. So I'm so excited just to be back in Chicago and do the whole thing and teach the class. I'm excited.
Oh, I love it. Did you catch any music last year? Were there any highlights, or did you just kind of keep it all business?
I was running. We did see. Oh, of course. Now I'm blanking on his name. For the guy from Men at Work,
Colin Hay.
Yes, Colin Hay. We did go see him. Of course, now when I'm talking to you is when I blank on his name. Yeah, we did that, and then trying to remember. I think my buddy James, who was with me, like he has family in Chicago, so like afterwards, I was also like, "Oh, we'll go see your family and we'll do whatever." And there were like meetups where we were like, "Hey, we're gonna go get pizza at this place," and then you're like, "Oh, there's everybody from today," and everything just turns into a hangout, you know?
Totally. Well, that's the fun part. It's like a great weekend in a city, at least most of the attendees do not live in. And so everybody gets to go do their own thing.
Yeah. And there's tons of stuff to do. And like afterwards, I mean, we checked out like Chicago Music Exchange and Electric Audio and like all this different stuff. And I was like, it's cool. I dig it.
Yeah. There's always like 10 people who somehow get into the Wilco loft. Like, there's a whole, everybody fans out. But, yeah, Mark, I'm so glad you're coming. I'm so glad you're doing this. I'm going to include in the show notes the link to your site for people who want to register. And then obviously, like, if you want to see all the music and everything, sign up for the full Fretboard Summit full meal deal thing, because you're going to include all the concerts and the workshops and the Lutherie show and all that good stuff. Otherwise, folks can buy day pass. But yeah, this will be a blast.
I'm stoked, man. I can't wait.
I'm so grateful.
Thank you.
All right. That was my chat with Mark Turley of Summer School Electronics. I hope to see a bunch of you at the summit in Chicago. It's going to be an absolute blast. We are adding names every day almost to the lineup. And it's going to be one for the record books. I hope to see you all there. Go to fretboardsummit.org to sign up.